I found out my partner of 8 years cheated on holiday. She still thinks it's a secret. Chapter 1. The foundation of an 8-year lie. They say the 7-year itch is the dangerous point in a relationship. We made it past 7 years. We were at 7.5, nearly 8. We were the solid couple, the ones our friends looked at when they wanted to believe that long-term love still existed in the age of dating apps. I'm 32, she's 32. We've built a life together in Wales, a house, a network of friends, a rhythm. But lately, the air had started to feel heavy, not with hate, but with the weight of what if. By February 2026, we hit the forget it button. We decided to chase our dreams before the window of our youth slammed shut. For me, that meant transitioning back to freelance work and shaking up my established life. For her, it was the big one, London. She's a dancer. In that world, 32 isn't just getting up there, it's the final call. She wanted to move to London to see if she could truly make it. I supported her. God, I supported her so much. I told her I'd stay in Wales to keep our home base stable, and I'd commute to London. It's not a bad drive. We'd make it work. I was the rock, or at least I thought I was the rock she needed. Looking back at my mindset from a few months ago, I was so naive. I was worried about finances. I was worried about whether the London lifestyle would suit me. I was asking people for advice on long-distance relationships, wondering if it was the beginning of the end. I didn't realize the end had already started. It didn't start in London. It started in Africa. Chapter 2. The Gift in Africa. In November, she graduated from her university program. It had been a grueling few years, and I was there for every breakdown, every late-night study session, and every moment of self-doubt. To celebrate, she wanted to gift herself a dance workshop in Africa. It sounded perfect, a chance to connect with her art, to travel, to breathe. She left in December. I stayed behind, working, counting the days until I could fly out and join her for the final leg of the trip in January. When I finally landed and saw her, something felt shifted. You know that feeling when you walk into a room and you know someone was just talking about you. It was like that, but with her entire personality. She was there, but she wasn't there. The red flags started small. Her phone was constantly buzzing. She'd walk off into the distance to have a chat or take a work call. She became incredibly protective of her screen. One night, a notification popped up while she was in the shower. I saw the name. I asked her about it later, just casually. "Oh, some girl from the camp," she said. "She's been having a hard time. I'll call her back later." I did some digging, not because I was suspicious yet, but because the name seemed familiar. It wasn't a she, it was a he. Let's call him Kevin. I didn't say anything. She'd been open about men hitting on her in the past, and she always laughed it off. I figured this was just another one of those situations she was handling in her own way. We had a lovely time, or so I told myself. We flew home, and things seemed to return to normal. But then came March. Chapter 3. The second trip and the medical red flags. She got grant funding to go back out there for work. I should have seen it. My gut was screaming, but I silenced it with logic. She's a professional, I told myself. She's building her career. While she was there the second time, our communication became strained. She'd call me and sound exhausted. She said she felt lonely and underwhelmed. She complained that she felt like a mother to her friends there. I felt for her. I sent her encouraging messages. I was the supportive partner, waiting at home with a warm house and a plan for our future in London. She came back at the end of March, but she didn't come back to me. She came back as a stranger. She brought back more than just memories. She came home with thrush, a persistent infection. Then she told me, almost immediately, that we needed to use condoms. Why? Because she was getting surgery for a coil, an IUD, and was worried about infections. It was a brilliant cover. Logical, medical, but my brain was already connecting dots I didn't want to see. Thrush, sudden insistence on protection after years of not needing it. The loneliness in Africa. The explosion happened on a quiet Tuesday morning. Chapter 4. The phone alarm. She was in the bathroom. Her phone alarm went off on the nightstand. I reached over to turn it off, and there it was. A message on the lock screen from Kevin. "I love you so much. I miss you already. I can't wait for us to be together again." My heart didn't just drop, it felt like it evaporated. I'm not proud of what I did next, but I had been cheated on before by an ex who slept with a close friend. That trauma is a ghost that never fully leaves you. I needed clarity. She left the house later that morning, and I went to her laptop. It wasn't even locked. I opened her messages, and the world stopped spinning. There were hundreds of them. Photos, videos, long, rambling paragraphs about their long-distance relationship. They weren't just sleeping together. They were planning a life. She was telling this man she loved him. She was telling him I was just a roommate or a friend she was helping out. But then I found the funny part, the cosmic joke. In the messages, Sarah had started getting suspicious of Kevin. She had messaged his friends, asking if he was seeing other women. It turns out Kevin had a wife and a daughter. Kevin's replies were cold. He was furious at her for snooping into his life. He told her she was an afterthought while she was in Africa because he had real responsibilities. My partner of nearly 8 years had blown up our life for a man who didn't even show up to her dance performances and treated her like a secret side piece. She felt lonely in Africa because her lover was ignoring her to go home to his wife and kid. I sat at that desk and took screenshots. My hands were shaking so hard, I could barely hit the keys. I had enough evidence to sink a battleship. Chapter 5. The Count of Monte Cristo Mindset. I didn't confront her immediately. I wanted to be like the Count of Monte Cristo, patient, calculated, and cold. I had to figure out how to end an 8-year life in a single conversation. She lived in my house. I had the deed. I had the power, but I felt like a ghost. I went to the internet for advice. I was hurting, confused, and desperate. Should I bring it up in our scheduled couples therapy on Thursday? Should I tell her family? Should I post it on Instagram to make sure she couldn't lie about why we broke up? The strangers online were a wake-up call. Stop sleeping with her, get a medical test, kick her out. The realization hit me. She was using me for security. She had tried to monkey branch to this guy in Africa. But since he was married and didn't want her, she crawled back to me to keep her roof over her head while she prepared for her London move. I was the safety net for a woman who had already cut the ropes. I couldn't wait until Thursday. I couldn't sit through a therapy session and watch her lie to a professional, and to me for another 48 hours. Chapter 6. The Confrontation and the Trickle Truth. That evening, I sat her down. I didn't lead with the screenshots. I wanted to see if there was any shred of the woman I used to love left inside her. "Is there anything you want to tell me about Africa?" I asked. "No," she said, her face a mask of perfect innocence. "It was just work and dance. I told you I was lonely. Did you meet anyone?" "Just friends, babe." "You're being paranoid again. Is this about your ex?" That was the trigger. She tried to use my past trauma to gaslight me. She tried to make me feel like the crazy one for having a gut feeling. I saw the messages, Sarah. I saw Kevin. The mask didn't just slip, it shattered. But she didn't confess. Not at first. It was the Trickle truth. Layer 1, I don't know who that is. Layer 2, okay, we're just acquaintances. Layer 3, we met a few times for coffee. Layer 4, we kissed once but I felt guilty. Finally, I showed her the screenshot where she talked about the sex. I showed her the photo she sent him. Yes, she finally whispered. I did it. I thought he might be boyfriend material. I was confused. He has a wife, Sarah, I said, and a daughter. You weren't confused. You were an afterthought. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I just told her to pack a bag. Chapter 7, Kicking Her Out. I kicked her out that night. She went to stay with a friend. I gave her 2 weeks to get the rest of her things out of my house. The next few days were a blur. I reached out to the people who needed to know. I'm incredibly close with her brother and her family. I didn't want to lose them, but I had to be honest. I told them the truth. To my surprise, her family reached out to me with nothing but apologies and love. They were devastated. They told me they were checking in on her, but they didn't excuse what she did. My own friends showered me with support, but Sarah wouldn't stop. The messages started pouring in. They weren't apologies, at least not real ones. They were peppered with, I feel like I'm missing a part of myself. I really miss you. I know you shouldn't feel sorry for me, but I'm struggling. She was still trying to center herself in the narrative. She was the victim of her own bad decisions, and she wanted me, the man she betrayed, to comfort her. Chapter 8, The Counseling Trap. Then came the question about Thursday. "Are you coming to couples counseling?" she messaged. "It would be best for both of us to go. I completely understand if you don't." I stared at the phone. Counseling? For what? To fix a relationship that she had burned to the ground and salted the earth over. People told me to skip it. They told me she was being manipulative, trying to find a way to reconcile because her financial situation was now in shambles. She had no job, no husband in Africa, and now no home in Wales. I realized then that she didn't miss me. She missed the life I provided. She missed the security of the man who supported her now, or never danced dream. Instead of going to the joint session, I contacted the therapist and changed it to an individual session for myself. I needed to talk about why I had allowed myself to be a doormat for so long. I needed to understand why I was feeling sorry for a woman who had lied to my face while I was at my most vulnerable. My housemate put it best. He saw me staring at her incoming call, my thumb hovering over the accept button. "Dude," he said, "it's your time now. She isn't your priority. You are." Chapter 9, The New Normal. It's been a week since the explosion. Sarah is still moving her things out, box by box. Each box that leaves makes the house feel lighter. I don't feel as much hate as I thought I would. I just feel pity. She had everything. A partner who loved her for nearly 8 years, a home, a future. And she traded it for a lil dance workshop and a married man who didn't even know her middle name. As for the London move, I'm still thinking about it. But if I go, I'm going for me, not to follow a dancer who forgot who stayed by her side during her hardest times. To anyone going through this, the betrayal isn't just about the sex. It's about the rewrite of your history. When you find out they've been lying for months, you start to question every memory. Was she happy in January? Was she lying when she said she loved me in February? The answer doesn't matter. What matters is the present. Don't go to couples counseling with a cheater who is only sorry they got caught. Go to individual therapy. Don't protect their reputation at the expense of your sanity. Tell the truth to the people who matter. And most importantly, remember that no contact isn't a punishment for them. It's a gift for you. I'm barely sleeping, and the silence in the house is loud. But I'm more comfortable with myself today than I was a week ago. I'm no longer waiting for the other shoe to drop. It dropped, it broke, and now I'm sweeping up the pieces. And that is why you always trust your gut. 8 years of loyalty trashed for a confusing holiday fling. Absolutely wild. What do you think? Is there ever a way back from Trickle truth gaslighting? Or was kicking her out the only move? Let me know in the comments. Smash that like button if your team moved to London for yourself. And make sure you're subscribed for the next story. Catch you guys later.